me, Mario and the gang, you probably know my name. And so we start the game, jumping high, ducking low, from the sky to the ocean. How come Peach can't stop being stolen? Need the fire flower star power now for Bowser. Koopa Troopa Super Goomba soon to lose a life. It's me and Peach and Luigi, so you know, stop and don't rock and roll. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
The Nintendo Switch is currently 7 years old at the time of you watching this video. And we, as Nintendo fans, cannot seem to get enough, because we've gotten so many fantastic titles in the past several years of the Switch's existence. We've gotten Mario Wonder, Princess Peach Showtime, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, and the list goes on and just never seems to end. And we still have a few other titles to look forward to this year. And 2020 may have been a slight drought thanks to the cough cough, which is hopefully dead and buried by this point. But Nintendo slowly picked it back up and kept releasing banger after banger. But of course, once all of that was settled, it was only a matter of time before Nintendo fans started getting ahead of themselves. Like thinking about the next flagship Nintendo console that they have planned once the Switch's lifespan concludes. And I sort of want to chime in on this discussion as well, because I feel like I could give my thoughts and predictions for the next system as well, seeing as it could drop anytime next year. Hello, this is Josh, coming to you from the future to let you know that most of the stuff you're about to hear me babble in this video was recorded several days before this tweet started spreading around. And of course it was from Nintendo themselves. This is the kind of stuff that happens when you stall around for a bit. Some things you say may age terribly. Don't become a YouTuber. So yep, a new Nintendo console is definitely on the way, and I just want to let you all know that I certainly know all about it, and I'm hype. Anyway, back to the present. Okay, that was really weird. Don't even ask me who that weird guy was that you just saw, because I have no idea. But yeah. I don't even want to waste time, so let's just start making some assumptions. First things first, it's definitely not going to be called the Switch 2, because what kind of name is that? This is supposed to be a new console, a quote-unquote successor to the Switch, which is the console we've had for the past 7 years. So just biting off a little bit of the console that came before feels a tad bit unnecessary and a little bit redundant, if you ask me. Something I know for sure that a lot of people want the next console to have is backwards compatibility. That's where Nintendo has been a bit too slow with these days. And you could just port the games over to the new one, and of course add some updates to have it like a full new experience. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It has been done with games like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and Super Mario Maker 2. But you can save a lot of time and money if the new system had the option to just play Switch games right off the bat. Save the ports for the more obscure games that are on the Nintendo 64, GameCube, Game Boy, DS, and Wii. If there's another thing we know for sure, it's that the next system will most likely be another gimmick console that Nintendo is just hugely obsessed with. Even though consoles like the 64, GameCube, and Game Boys weren't really hugely based on gimmicks, once the Wii hit the market, that was when the start of the gimmick cycle began. I mean, we had the motion controls, the touch screen, and of course, gaming on the go, and just the list goes on. Whatever it is they have planned, they've certainly got a buttload of expectations to exceed. But I'm of the opinion where I just constantly ask myself, do we really need a new console at the moment? Because the Switch is still doing surprisingly well, so maybe they could give it some time before the sales start slowly sinking down. And chances are that the new console is gonna have some type of gimmick like the Switch could, but it couldn't possibly be the same feature, could it? We all know how Nintendo is with their gimmicks, so they're definitely gonna be doing a few things. And I know for sure that they have plenty of tricks up their sleeves. Like, once the Switch came out, my mind was like, what can they possibly do for the next system? I mean, the Switch already does everything, you know, gaming has to offer, like play games on a TV and in handheld mode, so what can they really go beyond that? Like, what else can they really add to it? It was pretty much the perfect gaming experience, so what can they possibly do to overcome that sort of deal? Hell, at the time, the only thing I could really possibly think of is if they'd let you play on a big TV screen when you're not in your house. That's how dumb I was. But now my best guess is just a console that can actually run games at 60 FPS and have it work in 4K quality, like the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Come on, Nintendo, you've got all the time, money, and effort for the next console to be slightly or even entirely superior than the Switch. The Switch couldn't even run GTA 6 or even the GTA trilogy, whatever that was, which kinda puts me to shame because of just how much Nintendo just refuses to make their consoles have that kind of capacity. If you ask me, the PS5 isn't even that good of a console, but the fact that it's able to run a game as movie-like as GTA 6 is kinda out of control. And let me just say that if you're torn about buying a PS5 or a Series X, go for the Series X because you will not regret it. Believe me, you won't. I'm just praying to the gaming gods that we don't get ourselves into another Wii U situation. Now, let me just say that I did enjoy the Wii U even though mine is collecting dust. The reason why it failed was mostly due to its marketing, which pretty much kinda gave away for how Nintendo actually was feeling towards it. They could have done so much more with it, but thank God that they finally got their act together by 2017. That reminds me, I also don't want, but need, for the next system to have a much better online functionality than the Switch's online. Sure, the Switch's online service may be worth it in today's current day and age, but back in 2018, everyone here was not seeing that. It's still funny how the NSO overview trailer got more dislikes than likes, and Nintendo just completely ignored that and continued on like it was no big deal. That was, of course, before YouTube got rid of the dislike number for whatever idiotic and dumb reason. And please give the system all the upgrades and new add-ons that it needs from the start so you don't have to stupidly release a new version of it and have it be like a lower or higher price. Just have the console be a one-and-done kind of deal. If you really need a refresher on how I feel about the Switch Lite and Switch OLED in the year 2024, just know that my thoughts have still remained the same since I've made these two videos. Let's try to never do something like that again, please. And however the new system decides to play out, it's gotta have some strong launch titles on its first couple of weeks. One huge problem the Switch had at the start of its run were the lack of games to play. Breath of the Wild was fine, but it was a game that was already released for the Wii U, and 1-2 Switch? That was a literal joke. I mean, there was no reason to have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe come out a month later when it's literally just a port of a Wii U game with new characters and no new tracks. Well, at the time. And we had to wait several months for the legendary Game of the Year masterpiece being Super Mario Odyssey, which after almost 7 freaking years, it's still one of the best Mario games of all time. I speak for everyone when I say that. Like, I know there has to be that one dude who thinks the game sucks. But it doesn't matter because as long as most of the general public agrees that Mario Odyssey is peak at its best, that's all that matters. But for how I would do launch titles for the next console, I would just have them start out simple, like giving us a Mario game, a Donkey Kong game, Zelda, or a Kirby game. Then, later down the line, we could get some lucky stuff like a new F-Zero or a new Mario Kart, which will surely outsell every other game they've made for the console, given the sales for Kart 8 Deluxe. I still can't believe this is how many units it has sold. Then, some other companies can also work their magic and give us stuff like Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, Super Monkey Ball, Spyro, Mega Man, and all our faves. But yeah, come back to this video in about a few months or a few years from now, whenever the new console is revealed, and tell me how much of an idiot I am. Oh yeah, and here's another question. Where the hell is Metroid Prime 4? It's been 7 years since it was announced, and 5 years since they restarted the development for that game, and we still don't have any info on the actual game yet! There's no way Nintendo is willingly gonna let Metroid Prime 4 rot in the waiting cage and just casually reveal the next console when fans constantly clamor for at least 1 second of gameplay. I actually feel bad for them. It'd be funny if that was the case, but if Nintendo's able to get 2 Metroid installments on the Switch, then it's only a matter of time before we get an actual glimpse at Prime 4. But can you believe that the Switch is 7 years old and is most likely at the end of its lifespan, and we still don't have any real info on a game that was announced back in the year of when it came out? And TBH, it kinda does make my heart shrivel every time I look at those mashups of people reacting to the reveal of Prime 4. Even I know they don't deserve that cruel treatment. But yeah, give Arlo his Prime 4 already. I'm tired of seeing the dude suffer. But he has his Thousand Year Door remake, so he should be okay for the time being. And you wanna know what's funny? I don't even have that many Wii U games compared to the absurd amount of Switch games that I own, which pretty much confirms how much of a letdown the library of the Wii U was. I've never even touched this game. Certainly hope the Switch 2 lives up to that height again. But, I'm just preparing myself because soon enough, it's almost time to say goodbye. For anyone that doesn't know, which is practically everyone, this console, I feel it left a huge impact on not just gaming, but for me in general. Like, of course I was already a hardcore gamer before the Switch, but it basically was there to remind me that pretty much anyone can be a gamer. I'm just glad to refer the Switch as a hugely successful console that's still being appreciated by people to this day. And you wanna know who we have to thank for that? Yoshiaki Koizumi. Thanks for everything, Mr. Koizumi. Satoru Iwata would have been proud. And of course, whatever the new console is gonna be, there's gonna be a handful of, YouTubers and online people that have to do those destruction videos where they, of course, break the new console because they want to hop on the trends and, get those crazy amount of views and money, of course. Well, there's that at least. But anyway, be sure to let me know what you think the next Nintendo system will be, and let me know your predictions and ideas that you might have, because now that all of you have heard my ideas, it's time for me to hear yours. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and have a nice day! Also, can the new console have a unique startup when you turn it on? Because I missed those. Nintendo's always about creativity, but here we are where the Switch just goes to the main menu screen without a fabulous startup animation or something like the N64, GameCube, DS, and such. And please give us interesting wallpapers and themes for the menu screens. I don't want basic white or basic black. And don't you assume I'm being racist, because I'm not.